everyone, and a warm welcome to the first episode of E-Xemplify's official podcast, now rebranded as E-Xemplify. My name is Tejal Prabhu, and I am going to be your host. It is with immense pleasure that I welcome our guest for today, Mr. Harish Uthayakumar. Mr. Harish is the co-founder of one of India's largest student communities, BlueLearn. BlueLearn is a one-stop platform for students to upskill, network, and grow. Mr. Harish is also one of the youngest on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Hello, sir, and welcome to E-Xemplify.
Hi, Tejal. Thanks for having me. So it's a pleasure.
The pleasure is all ours, sir. So, sir, I have a range of questions lined up for you. From the origin of BlueLearn in your college days to what it was like founding a startup in the midst of a raging pandemic, and a few fun segments towards the end as well. I truly hope you enjoy this session and it proves to be both engaging and fun. So without...
Just one condition, don't call me sir, just call me Harish, it's fine. I'm probably like a year or two older than you, so it's fine.
Right. So when did you come to realize that entrepreneurship was your true calling?
I think most entrepreneurs just become entrepreneurs by accident. Like there are very few people who are like, I want to become an entrepreneur, because that's not really the way to build startups. Startups are meant to solve big problems. And I think anyone who can observe problems and come up with solutions is an entrepreneur in their own respect, right? It doesn't really matter if you're working for a company and you're sort of solving a inter-company project, or if you're starting a full-fledged startup, or if you're working at EIT, trying to solve a problem of maybe getting more people to your event. Like every single one of these are entrepreneurial activities, and all of them are in a way micro macro startups. So I think at least for me, it all came down to when I was in college, I wanted to make money. So we started freelancing and we started building websites. And there we were helping entrepreneurs and other startup founders make websites. And that's how we made money. So I guess that was my first entrepreneurial stint. After that, we started a software company called QLock, where we made chatbots. And after that, we started BlueLearn. So yeah, point being, as you just look around for problems, you in a way become entrepreneurs in your own sense.
Well, that was interesting. So adding on to that, I would like to ask, you founded BlueLearn in the August of 2020, a time in which most startups were facing immense difficulties due to the pandemic. What inspired you to start BlueLearn, and what challenges did you face during the initial stages?
Sure. So the pandemic was a tricky situation, right? Like a lot of industries which were predominantly offline were struggling. Like let's take an example of just Kirana stores or restaurants. Like no one was going to restaurants. Restaurants as an industry was dying. But at the same time, hotels as an industry was dying. Hospitality took a major hit. But at the same time, a lot of other industries like, say, telemedicine, which is medicine over the phone, over the internet, or education, online education, or let's take an example of Swiggy, Zomato, like just ordering, sitting at home. Like these things start picking up because people were just sitting at home and they had too much time in their hand. So I think when you say starting a business during the pandemic was hard, it depends on what kind of business. At least for us, for a social education platform, it was good for us because people had time in their hand, which meant that they would use these things more often. And that did give us our initial traction and our initial engagement. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. I guess you had a follow-up to that?
Yes. I have one last follow-up to that question again. So what was it like founding a startup while you were still in college? And how do you manage both academics and a startup?
Yeah, I think fortunately I was at BITS, unlike VIT, which has 0% attendance. I'm sorry if you guys have like 75% attendance, but like, I used to go for all classes. So I used to like work in the evenings. So it doesn't really matter which college, but at least in third year of college, when we were really serious about BlueLearn, I did not go for classes at all. I think the last class that I went to was like 2 years back. And after that, I just stopped attending classes, and it was COVID, so giving exams was easy. And yeah, so just like didn't give a shit about academics at all. I think my last semester's GPA was like 5 or something, which is fine. But yeah, I guess you always have to compromise, right? It's like you have academics, you have work, you have social life, you have sleep. It's all like different quadrants. Once you start focusing on one of these, the other one gets a little messed up. So if you are trying to manage all of these at once, then it's just really hard. For me, I focused more on my work, which inevitably meant I had to compromise a little bit on my social life. I did not go out that often at that time, and I had to compromise a little bit on my academics. I never went for classes. I don't remember my professors' names. And then if you think that one of these needs more attention, like at one point I was almost failing college, so I was like, let's focus a little bit on college right now and compromise work. So it depends on which one of these quadrants require more attention at what point in time.
All right. So, as I said before, we have a few fun little segments for you. So, our next segment is called Would You Rather, the business edition.
Okay.
So, it is the classic game of Would You Rather, but then this involves a question regarding a business decision you made in the past. So, my question to you, sir, is if you were at present a student and an idea like BlueLearn came to mind, would you still choose to build your startup simultaneously with your academics, or would you change your decision and graduate first?
I'll build it simultaneously.
Right.
Do I have to give a reason as well, or is it just like?
Yeah, if you'd like, please.
Okay, cool. I mean, like, why do you want to wait to graduate? Just start as soon as possible. Like,
Right.
nothing magical is going to happen after you graduate.
Right. Especially with the new 75% attendance policy, I think, yeah, that's the best decision.
Oof. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Could you tell us about your team at BlueLearn? An active follower of yours can easily tell that there's a close-knit bond between you and your team. How did you come about selecting your team, and what is it like to work at BlueLearn?
Yeah, I think our team is just a bunch of young friends trying to build something and trying to work hard, party hard, and have fun. Like, I think it just goes beyond just, beyond just our roles and responsibilities, right? It's not like he's a CEO, he's the backend engineer. Like, we're just friends. Like, we go out together, we have each other's back, we talk about each other's breakups, we're just so close to each other, and we just know everyone really well. I think it's sort of formed a family. Like, we live in this place in Goa called Blue Villa, which is like that's the name of our home office, where all of us live and work together. And I think that way, Shreyans, me, Avril, Keenan, Vineet, Suti, all of us have just become like, I don't know, some joint family of sorts at this point. So the core team is really strong. And I think one thing to keep in mind is that culture is super, super important. Like, every time we hire, we just don't look at skills. I mean, sure, you could be a mediocre video editor in terms of skills, it's fine. But if you don't check the vibe, then we would not want to have you. Like, you have to match the vibe. You have to be someone open. You have to be someone accepting. You have to be someone who has good conversations. You have to be someone who communicates well. You have to be someone who, gels together and like matches that we have. I think if that does not happen, if two people with contradicting personalities, it does not work out, right? It's just like a relationship, right? If you're trying to date someone who has a very different ideology than you, more often than not, things might, you start fighting a lot, and like things might not work out. So it's very similar for the co-founding team. I think once you go beyond the co-founding team, things could change a little bit. So you can start hiring based on skill sets and not really care. I mean, you have to care about the culture as well. But then, if I have to hire a graphic designer intern, it's fine if he's not the most, if his vibe and our vibe does not match the most, right? But at least the core team, the first 10 hires that you make, they have to match the vibe. They have to be very similar to you, right? If one person's like, one person's super ambitious and wants to get shit done really quick, and if the other person's someone lethargic and who thinks a lot, they might not work out well. So I think that part is important. And secondly, just being nice, right? Like asking people how your day was and what you're up to, and spending time with them outside work. Like it really helps. Like once in a while, going to parties with these guys every weekend, just trying out different places, just doing stupid shit with them. It really helps, and it goes a long way. So yeah, that's how we formed our core team.
Right. So you are a content creator as well, and I have a question in that area. So how would you emphasize the importance of authentic and ethical content for entrepreneurs in this content-driven age? Since again, you're both an entrepreneur and a content creator, your views on this would provide a fresh perspective to us.
Could you please repeat the question? I was zoned out for some time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So you are both an entrepreneur and a content creator, right? So how would you emphasize on the importance of authentic and ethical content for entrepreneurs in this content-driven age?
Uh, Ethical content for entrepreneurs. Could you just put it in very simple terms? Like, do you mean to say, I didn't get the question. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So see, there's a lot of content available on everywhere.
Okay.
So
Okay,
what
I
is the
think I know what you
importance of
meant.
content according to you as
Okay.
a content creator?
Okay, fair. Got it. Sorry for the misunderstanding. Cool. So I think what's happening right now is that I hate YouTube. I don't even open YouTube, like though I make videos on YouTube, because most of the content there is just stupid. Like it's just people like craving attention. They're like, click on me, click on me. It just sucks. Like most of these videos, you won't really gain value out of it. Like it doesn't help. Like just go out and play basketball. Maybe you'll be better off that way. So the homepage is just very different. Like you'll have a lot of politically opinionated videos, or people just making clickbaits on how to make money. Like you'll find very few value adding videos out there, unless it's long form content like a good podcast, or someone like, say, a Kunal Shah coming and sharing his insights. I don't really find much value in watching short videos, and that's why even my content has changed a little bit over time. Like I want to make sure that I just like, I don't know, just make chill vlogs of sorts, which is way better. But then again, right, like it's just different, because for content creators, they have to like keep making clickbaity videos to run their business, to run their family, to run their like that's how they make a living, right? So in a way it's a mistake of the platforms as well, like YouTube, Instagram, all of them in a way promote clickbaity content, which makes content creators also create clickbaity content. And some of them don't even want to create it, but they're just forced to do it. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I think some of the best content forms are the ones that don't show up on homepage. They're the ones that you discover, which have like 4 views, and you're the 5th person to view it. Like those are the best forms of content, in my opinion, which are just undiscovered and not that well known. The really good intellectual, like mentally stimulating content is just content that most people don't consume, or the most of these platforms don't promote it. So here are a few places where you can find good content. Reddit has good communities, really good subreddits, and I would definitely use that over anything else. YouTube, watch podcasts, any kind of long form podcasts. Like they have really good high value add. Spotify podcasts are great. So just go to business and like scroll through the top ones. That'll be helpful. And yeah, more than that, like I just like talking to people and learning from them more than like internet content or just reading a book. I think those are way better, simpler, and more efficient.
This piece of advice will be really helpful to aspiring entrepreneurs who will watch this podcast. So, adding on to this, I would like to also ask, what is one message you would want to give today's aspiring entrepreneurs?
Oh, one message.
Yes.
Okay. I would say, just be fast and experiment really fast. Don't waste too much time in just like typing out your ideation documents. Like that's not gonna work out. You'll have to just get your hands dirty, try things out, and like be in the flow, be in action all the time. Like I guess that's the only way to make impact. If you're just like writing stuff on a notepad all day long, that's not gonna make a huge difference in your life. Like sure, you can document things, but if you really want to build something, then you'll have to build it out yourself, and you'll have to like put in the efforts. So what I mean by that is you're building a tech product, go code it out, go design it out, go sit with the designer the entire day, code it out, design it, execute it, take care of operations, look through the statistics, see how you want to improve it, look through your content production, look through your future strategy. Like there's so many things to take care of, and all of these require active, like being very proactive. And secondly, do take breaks and do take some time out to understand what's good for you and what's not good for you. Like sometimes there's so many things in life which just sort of don't allow you to grow. It could be a person, it could be an event, it could be some sort of past thing that you're thinking about. It could be, I don't know, like your surroundings, like anything that's stopping you from growing. If you think you're living in a place which is not the best place to grow, like change it. For example, if you think someone's toxic in your life, change it, cut them off. If you think you're living in a very remote place which does not really promote entrepreneurship, try moving to Bangalore, try moving to better places. Like try changing your environment if you think things aren't working out that well. Like there are so many ways to change things. If you think that your growth is inhibited because you have anxiety, or like you're constantly overthinking about something, then maybe go out, seek help, take therapy, or talk to people and see how we can overcome that. Like there's so many of these other factors that sort of come in terms of stopping your growth. If there's any of these, then see how we can rectify it. It's a slow process, but then be very cognizant about what's helping you grow as a person, right? Because all of us are super young. All of us are in our early 20s, and this is the time for growth. This is the time when you go out there and achieve the best, and at the same time enjoy the most, right? Because after that, I'm not saying life is sad after your 20s, but you won't be as agile, as energetic, as independent, as you can't take as much risk also. So enjoy it to the most, and anything that's avoiding you from enjoying the work or the personal life that you're doing, just see if you can get it out of your way and start working towards that.
Right. Thank you for that. Also, this is one question that I'm really excited about. How was it to feature on Forbes 30 under 30 list? Like, how was that experience?
Um, it was nice. I guess a couple of my old friends who never cared about me called. Um, and apart from that, like I think I made this viral post about my dad reacting like this. That went, a lot of people saw that, a lot of publications like NDTV covered that. That was cool. But boy, yeah, dude, it's like a 1-2 day spike where you're happy and you're like, oh, I'm a celebrity. Third day, everyone forgets. So a lady at the gym recognized me. An old lady was like, oh, were you on NDTV? I was like, yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. That's the only impact it had on my life. Apart from that, it's I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. So few people think I'm smart. I guess that's the only difference.
That's super cool. So speaking of Twitter, and since you're fairly active on Twitter as well, we have a very exciting segment lined up for you, and I hope you enjoy this. So
Sure.
this segment is called Twitter X-Ray, wherein we select a tweet from your Twitter handle and ask you a question regarding it. So if you could
Yeah.
give us a moment, we'll display the tweet for you.
Sure. Thanks for making this podcast fun. Else people have very boring podcasts.
We're glad you're having fun. So this is the tweet that we wanted
Mm-hmm.
to dive more into depth and then ask you
Mm-hmm.
a question.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it like? What is the work culture at BlueLearn like? What skill sets do BlueLearn employees acquire through their time in your company that sets them apart from everyone else?
I think feels and feel leader and like an entrepreneur, even though they're working here. Like, doesn't matter. Like, for example, yesterday, we renamed this term HR/admin, right? So everyone calls we have a person who sort of schedules my calls and like helps me answer emails, does interviews, recruiting, and people call them an HR or an admin. And that term doesn't really sit well with me. So Google has this really good term called people operations. And we also use the same thing. Now we call that particular person head of people operations. And that means you're valuing them, right? Like it's such a, like, I don't know, like small things like this, right? When you just call someone an admin or an HR, it sounds thoda sa derogatory in my opinion. But when you call them head of people operations, because like these are the people responsible for making sure your employees succeed. They're responsible for taking care. They check in on employees to make sure that they're doing well. Like she checks in on me to make sure that I'm doing well. Like it's such an important role in a company, right? It keeps the company bonded. So like every single role has its own importance and nothing should be taken for granted. And everyone's a leader in their own respect, right? So we also give a lot of ownership to people. Like everyone has a say in what we are building, why we are building. Doesn't matter if you're an intern, like as long as you have an idea, as long as you have a strong opinion on something, we'll be open to listen to it. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm the CEO, I'm going to take all the decisions myself. That'd be stupid and very like blind of me to do that. So we are super open to feedback. Everyone has a say. Everyone has ownership. What that means is I don't have trust issues in terms of who's taking what. Like I won't bug the designer 24/7 saying ye kiya kya, ye kiya kya, ye kiya kya. I know I believe that I've hired a great designer, and I know that there's a high chance he'll do it well. If he doesn't, then that time I'll intervene. But sometimes you just gotta trust the other person, and when you trust them, that's when they feel like a leader. And once you become a great leader, that's when you step up and you might want to start up. For example, we had this person called Ishan Gupta, who used to work as a software engineer at a company, and now he is studying at Dartmouth, and he started this company called Juicebox, which recently got into Y Combinator, right? And like, I'm so happy for him that once he worked here and now he's like running a Y Combinator backed startup, which is really cool. So he went to New York and he started Juicebox, and it's to see his journey from Lucknow to New York becoming a founder. Like that's real impact, right? And that's what we want to see in every employee of ours. I'm not asking my designer or backend engineer to just quit tomorrow and be like, I'm going to become an entrepreneur, but we want to grow BlueLearn to such an extent, and they should be part of the journey. They should see the 0 to 1 journey of it, and ultimately they should gain the skill sets to do their own 0 to 1 journey one day when the right time comes.
I'd like to say I love the system you have in place. So another question, what is your definition of success?
Okay, it keeps changing every night, but I want to have enough money to like, so I don't want to spend money. I don't spend money. Like I don't see the point of buying a car that's more expensive than like 25 lakhs. Like what's the point? Like what am I going to do with a like Mustang? Unless I'm really into cars or something. Even house, well, you can get a decent house for like a good price if you keep working for a long time. So I think after a point, the value of money just like it just does not affect your lifestyle as much. So I really want to have enough money for sure to like take good decisions. Like I should be able to take out all 17 of you guys to Taj and like treat you guys for dinner. Like I shouldn't think twice about it. Like I should be that independent in terms of finances. I want to become ultra rich. Like that's out of the question. But at least like decisions. India is a very easy country to like. If you make decent amount of money, you can live an amazing life in India because living expenses are really low compared to Indians. But uh like some level of freedom where I can make a lot of financial choices without really thinking about it. Like if tomorrow I want to go to Bali, I should be able to without thinking too much about it. Like reaching that level, but I'm not extravagant. Also, I'm not like mujhe Bugatti chahiye, but I'm like normal life pleasures, whatever. That's one for sure. Second one is, dude, like becoming ultra self-aware. like I know I suck at it. Like there are so many things I have to work on. Like understanding the root causes of overthinking, of insecurities, of anxiousness, of anger, of pretty much every single human emotion. And like I have no clue what I want in terms of like, feelings, right? I sometimes find myself getting back into toxic cycles, or like I find myself doing things that I don't really enjoy doing, or like just avoiding those things, because life is short. Like why not just live an amazing life where you're doing things that you genuinely love doing? Sure, it should have phases of like sadness and stuff, but like when you have such a short life to live, why not optimize to live a good mind, where your mind is clear, and you're just absorbing whatever is happening around you, and you're just so like deep in the environment that you're just going in that constant flow of life, where you're enjoying every single moment and not really thinking of the future past, and just like being in the current moment. Like I want to reach that flow wala state. I really don't know how I'm going to do it, but like I really want to sort of make myself more emotionally open and mature in a way. Long way to go, but that process of self-discovery is something that I really want to work on, because even if you get money, like right now, a decent chunk of I won't say I'm rich, but like I have a decent chunk of money. I can maybe treat you guys at some hotel, but like but that doesn't mean I'm internally happy, right? Like, sure, I'm living a great life, but like I want to have that sense of peace, that sense of like being in the flow. And I think that's something I'm still working on towards achieving. So that's one, because only when your mind is clear, and only when you're like at peace, when you're not, when you have that neutral feeling, when you're not super happy or super sad, like only then you can take really good decisions. And I feel that's important for me. And knowing basic things about myself, like even simple things like what's my favorite color, what makes me angry, what makes me sad, what makes me happy, what kind of person I like hanging out with, what kind of person I don't like hang out with, like being ultra self-aware about your likes and dislikes. I think that's also something that I really want to achieve. So through this process of self-discovery for a couple of months, I want to reach a state where I can have a little bit more control over me and my emotions and how I feel, and achieve that state of flow. So that's second form of success. And lastly, I just want to meet people and have some sort of impact in their life. Like people should remember me, not remember me as in like I don't want to crave for attention or something, though I do, but like just having some sort of small lives, and just trying to be nice, kind person in a way. Yeah, I guess these would be the three things that I would care for.
I really appreciate your honesty, and your answer to this question was most intriguing. So, moving on, the last segment for the day. It's called the signature question, where I shall ask you one signature question that we ask every guest of ours.
Sure.
So, my question to you is, if you were to start another company in the future, which Indian co-founder or founder would you pick to start this venture with, and why?
I'll just pick Shreyans, dude. He's my current co-founder. I think we are so jugadu that we can just pretty much build in any sector. Like tomorrow, if you just throw us in healthcare, we'll figure some shit out. If you throw us in any sector, we'll figure stuff out. So Shreyans has been a great co-founder. If I do start another venture, probably it'll be with him if we're in good terms. But yeah, I think you need that jugadu people, and both of us know how to get our way through in most hard situations. So current co-founder himself.
Right.
The only problem is he's not Indian. He's like technically he's a US citizen, but he looks Indian, so it's fine.
Okay. That makes sense. Yes. So it was an amazing session, and it was a pleasure talking to you. And I'm certain that everyone who attended the podcast have much to take back from here. Thank you once again for your valuable time and for sharing your great experiences with us, especially your definition of success. It was most intriguing. So this is it from me, viewers, the end of the first episode of E-Xemplify, featuring Mr. Harish Uthayakumar. Do like this podcast and drop a comment. Stay tuned for our next episode and don't forget to hit the bell icon to subscribe to many more of our podcasts if you haven't already.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.